Thank you very much, Luke, and thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to talk a bit about nearshore delivery. You said fantastic presentation. Wow, no better now. And I would like to ask the question to the audience first. Who has had some experience with nearshore delivery already? Would be great to have that poll going and get a bit of an idea where you are. Okay, so answers are coming in. We have a few who have used nearshore delivery already. Also, one who's thinking about it. One says no. Okay, so we have a few who have some experience already, and one hasn't, and one is thinking about it. Okay, so let me introduce myself a bit and how come that that I talk about nearshore delivery. Here you can see the timeline of my career in the IT industry. It's been now 22 years, and you see basically this through a lens of my engagements in international projects. This is relevant for today's topic. I was involved in various projects in various roles, and I started my career with a company called Software Design and Management, and pretty early already. I was in a project called Ninjo. This is some workstation software for meteorological services. Was a consortium of weather services that's developed this software, and I checked the other day. It's still being used, which is quite cool. So I didn't break the thing completely. So really cool after such a long time. Then there are other highlights. For example, being a project manager for offshore delivery. That was now at when I was already at Silke. And through this, I also gained a lot of experience for how to run international projects. And oh yeah, the one before I skipped that, business analyst with a German Swiss project. There were a number of things that I learned the hard way actually, and now I'm, without going into detail, but now I'm really grateful that I learned a lot of stuff fairly early in my career there. Another highlight also for sure was the NHS COVID-19 app project. I was the staffing manager for this. I didn't put all the individual flags on this slide. There just would have been too many. It's nearly every Züge location was involved in this, so it was quite a big thing. And yeah, at peak times we had 85 people on the project. Engineers, consultants, project managers. So that was quite quite a task, but yeah, I still have very fond memories of these exciting times. And then I was also involved in supporting the nearshore delivery locations for Silke in various roles, supporting the recruitment efforts, for example, also supporting the management there, especially in Sofia. It had a bit of a startup atmosphere, which was really cool. And yeah, if I have to highlight something, then it is basically this time in Sofia, because I'm a rather curious person, and I'm interested in people, in their history, in their countries, culture, languages, and so also from a personal point of view, this was really a very fantastic time, and yeah, I'm really grateful that I had the chance to do such a thing in my career. Okay, so that's about me so far. Now I would like to introduce you to Gary. Gary is a businessman. He has his own company, and he would like to develop a digital product. So he already has a small team on board, an architect and a project manager slash business analyst. He has an idea already what the product should look like. He secured some funding, and he also has a vague idea already around go-to-market timing. So now his challenge is that he does not have all the expertise that he needs to develop this product, and he needs to make the decision. Does he want to ramp up his own team? Does he want to recruit people for this? Or does he want to do the development together with an external partner? And since still things are still fairly uncertain, he decides to go with an external partner instead of saying let's recruit people. So that's his decision for now. Yeah, and decide to go with a service provider for nearshore delivery. And I would like us to take a step back for now and have a look at the reasons for doing nearshore delivery. So first of all, there is access to talent. Access to talent with little or to no recruitment effort. And since you do not employ people, you do not have to worry about all sorts of HR-related topics. They are not on your payroll. You don't pay any insurance fees for them. You do not need to worry about their professional development, etc. And your local talent market that might be dry. I know that the current climate suggests otherwise, but I also believe that since things work in cycles, that the time will come again where people are desperately looking for talent again. Another good reason for nearshore delivery is staffing flexibility and scalability. Once you have your team, but you realize we need to change something. For example, you decide to go for a different technical ecosystem, and you need to pivot. then with Nearshore delivery, you can fairly quickly then make changes to that team. Instead of, for example, then triggering your own recruiting processes, and then it delays your development effort substantially. Also with Nearshore delivery, you can scale teams up and down, and that is in a short and midterm sense. Yeah, for example, when you're running your project already and you realize, okay, we need more capacity in one particular skill, or you need some special skill, you can then very flexibly do this, or also scaling up and down in the long term, depending on your business strategy. So this goes beyond a particular project. And then, and for some, this is also a very very strong reason, attractive cost structure, as people in near-to delivery locations often come with lower hourly or daily rates, and the corresponding service provider already takes care of all the equipment and the infrastructure that's needed. So these are some reasons, and what are underlying business drivers for this? And this list is not exhaustive. But for example, if your business needs additional delivery capacity temporarily, you don't want to recruit more staff, but you just scale up and down using nearshore delivery. Strategic growth and competitiveness, and this is where Gary is at the moment. This is his reason, his driver. Then another reason could be another driver: the need for maintenance, customer service, customer support. They're saying we want to do this from a nearshore location, or strategic partnerships and talent market diversification, instead of putting all your eggs in one basket and running the risk that your talent market runs dry, to have this diversified across several talent markets. Okay, so back to Gary. He asked himself the question now, okay, I want to do my development with a service provider, but how do I choose one? And how will we work together? Let's start with the second question: how will we work together? And I present you 4 key engagement models for this. There are some deviations sometimes, or they might have different names, but these are some key models that I came across over the years. So first model is outsourcing. On the one side, there's the client, and that's Gary and his small team in location A. On the other side, location B is the service provider. So, and with outsourcing, the service provider works independently and is responsible for the outcome. And the client, Gary and his team, has no control over processes, ways of working, the team setup. That's completely, if you will, hidden from him. Yeah, it could even be that the service provider staff are working on multiple engagements for different clients, and yeah, okay, you don't know about this. So, and this kind of model is rather suitable for engagements where the scope is fairly clear, requirements are clear, and there is little or no need for close collaboration between the client and the service provider. Okay, now the second engagement model is outstaffing. And this is fundamentally different. The client and service provider form one team here. You see that Gary's two people are part of that team. And it's actually the client who has control over the processes and the ways of working, and with some limitations, also the team setup. When I say with some limitations, this means that the service provider might want to rotate staff from time to time. And yeah, one could write a whole article about the reasons for this, but yeah, it happens. But this model supports close collaboration, and this is suitable, for example, with scenarios where requirements are still a bit unclear, scope is volatile, and in a, for example, agile way, you need to develop that clarity as you move along, and you need to do this via close collaboration. So the third model, dedicated team, looks pretty similar to outstaffing. Yes, it is similar. Again, the client has control over the processes and so on. The difference here is that the people on the service provider side are dedicated to that client. Sometimes they even get recruited or contracted for that particular client, and this is a setup that is suitable for more long-running projects, long-term relationships, or where a team is available then for a number of projects. It's not necessarily limited to one. Okay, now the fourth engagement model, I call it freelance talent pool. There is no, as far as I know, but please correct me after the webinar if you want to. There's no proper name for it yet, and it's something that that is emerging, and the pandemic has accelerated this trend. Freelance talent pool, or some people call it instead of pool, network, or what was the other word for it? Pool, network. It will come back. And here the difference is that the service provider does not necessarily have their own staff. They might have some, but they pull people in who are freelancer, contractor, and put these teams together. And these teams can be highly dispersed. So we're not talking about only one or two or three locations, but more. And this is a setup that is suitable, for example, if you need highly specialized expertise, yeah, and a high degree of flexibility. Okay. Now that was the models, and now for how to work together. And now it's about choosing a service provider. And there are all sorts of criteria that might be relevant to you. For example, the location, the countries where the service provider operates, the stability, the political and economic system in the first place, the technical infrastructure, the time zone. Since we're talking about nearshore, we expect time not to be too different, but it needs to be factored in the collaboration. Also, access to these locations, yeah, for traveling there or for people to come to your location once in a while. Obviously, the commercials. We spoke about the engagement models and then also the pricing models and the actual costs, for example, which parts are offered as a fixed price or which ones are offered as time and material. So that obviously is a very, very big factor. Then the availability of talent, the seniority, the skill mix type, and availability, not only the talent that the service provider can offer you, but also the availability of talent in their corresponding talent market. If they cannot immediately provide the expertise that you need, how quickly would they be able to recruit the skills that you need? And then also the staffing flexibility. For example, what is if you have a staffing request, what is the lead time? How long does it take for the service provider to make staffing possible? Another thing, culture and collaboration, not to be underestimated. You should share the same values. You should have the same idea for how to work together. Good alignment around the policies and processes. Otherwise, there's a high risk that that it's not going to fly. And then ultimately also what's the service provider's reputation, what's their competence, also business continuity. For example, do they have long-lasting partnership with similar companies like yours in the same industry? What is it that their case studies, success stories say? Are there any testimonials, referrals? And also, what is the client's learning potential? What is it that the client, look, for example, at Gary and his small team, what is it that they can take away from working with a service provider? Might also be an important point. So the bottom line is that depending on your strategy and your situation, you need to come up with your own list of criteria and check what is important to you, what is possibly also the risk appetite that you have, and then based on these criteria, you can then make a decision for choosing a service provider. So what is it that Gary does? He do the engagement model outstaffing. This is what he thinks fits best, given his current situation. He also chooses a particular service provider, but he makes a little change to the team. So one colleague from the service provider moves to Gary's location, to location A, and this is to work closely together in the initial stages of the project, and this helps a lot to create some mutual understanding, to underline the common goal, and it also works as social glue. This person from the service provider can learn a lot about Gary's business, or also Gary's customers, working closely together, and put himself into his shoes. and also Gary's team, they can learn a lot about the service provider, their ways of working, and then what's important to them. So, and this doesn't have to be a setup throughout the whole duration of the project, but it can help a lot, even if it's just a limited period of time. Okay, now engagement model chosen, service provider chosen, project is kicked off. Happy days, can all lean back now. No, can't. So I met Gary the other day. We spoke about his project, and yeah, while we were talking, yeah, I happened to give him a few hints and recommendations now that things got picked off. But I think there are some points that are worth to keep in mind and to keep an eye on. Let's start with further staffing needs on the left. You might have put your team together, but as things move on, there might be different staffing needs, and you need to stay on top of this and regularly check what is it that we need, or is there some upcoming change, for example, that different technical ecosystem or something else that gets added to the scope, and you need to ramp up. So try to anticipate the required skills as the project moves along, and this is super difficult. And also work closely with your service provider, because the earlier they know which staffing requests might come their way, the better they can help you then to do the staffing in a timely fashion and keep your project smoothly running. Team performance and culture. Always keep an eye on the effectiveness and efficiency of your team, because if you don't do this, then you're running the risk that all that benefit that you get from lower hourly or daily rates, it just goes out of the window. Things will take longer then, and even might become very expensive. So it's something to always monitor. Team collaboration and dynamics. What's the mood in the team? How do people work together? Are they helping each other? And also handling of conflict. And this leads me to the third part, the risk of them and us, because if you add another company to your project, basically, and they are in a different location, people don't know each other. There might be, whether people want it or not, but there might be biases. There might even be prejudices. It could even be that your local team is a bit uncomfortable, and they see people from the nearshore delivery location as a threat to their job security. So this all asks for good expectation management. Expectation management internally. So what is it that you want to achieve with nearshore delivery? How does this fit in the overall picture in your strategy? And that's my personal recommendation. Also, provide that clarity to your own staff, how they fit in and continue to fit in. Also, expectation management with your service provider, or if you have more with all of them. What is what you expect of them in terms of ways of working, in terms of communication, also escalation procedures and these kind of things, so that you are on the same page right from the start, and you have this common understanding that if something doesn't quite work well, that you address this immediately, and you don't let things fester. And then also build the relationship and establish trust on all levels, and starting early. And there are also, my personal experience, some cultures who emphasize relationships much stronger than what I was used to from the background where I was coming from. But personal relationships for some, these are super important, and you don't want to start with this when things start to get pear-shaped. You want to build these relationships really in a timely fashion. But this is an investment. All this expectation management, building the relationship, building the trust. This means that your leaders, you yourself, need to invest some time. You need to have the headspace for this, and possibly it also costs some money. For example, if you want to get the whole team in one physical place, especially at the beginning of the project, and want everybody to get to know each other a bit better. But I think it's worth it. Because if things become difficult, and that might happen, then you want to have a strong partnership. You want to have a cohesive team that responds well to challenges. You don't want to have a team that, if there's just a bit of a challenge already, and it falls apart. That's what you don't want. Okay, time for a summary. E-delivery gives you access to talent, allows for flexible staffing, and often offers attractive costs. And depending on your strategy and your overall situation, choose an engagement model that fits, and a near-shore delivery service provider. And you can also partner with the service provider to support your strategic growth, so build the long-term relationships. Manage carefully the delivery, and especially the them and us risk, and then enjoy the collaboration and the successes across boundaries. And that's it. And thank you very much for your attention. Now, are there any questions?
Hi, Mike.
Hi, David.
How you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. That was a really good run through. Thank you. I think you really covered all the bits well. I quite like the slight emerging variant that you had around, where there's multiple sort of freelance teams you can pick and pull together. I think since a lot more remote working, I think that's become a real reality. So that was good to hear. My question is, really pertaining to location and cost. Now, I know that, you know, you didn't go into specific locations, and I'm not asking you to list out what you think the best locations to go are for the best cost. But particularly nearshore delivery, the evolution that I've seen, and I've seen companies I've worked with seeing, is that there are the original places that started doing on nearshoring, and then they sort of got full up with lots of companies using them, and they increased their costs, but they're very well established. So a lot of the things that the model that you're saying is needed, you know, the collaboration and the structure, I think that's all really well defined in those places, but you pay a bit more. Now, there's a lot of places that are starting to come online that maybe we haven't thought about. South Africa's somewhere that's starting to sort of get more and more into this. And there are places. What's your advice on, you know, what do you need to think about in terms of, well, I need to go somewhere that's really established, knows how to do nearshore well, and I'll just have to pay the extra money, versus, oh, I'm going to go to one of these emerging places where it's all cheaper, but it might be a little bit more sort of fly by the seat of your pants. What's your sort of view? Is that how do we factor that choice in?
Mm-hmm. No, thanks. That's really a good question. And yes, when I spoke, for example, about the political and economic system, the stability, the infrastructure, there are some countries already who are that are so good at this. You don't even get that much of a benefit anymore, because they know that they provide great infrastructure and everything. So you pay sort of a higher price, if you will. And for example, when it comes to Africa, I think there is a lot of potential. Not only South Africa, there are some tech hubs, and it's definitely worth looking at this. But this is what I meant with what is your risk appetite, and how do you want to diversify? And you could, for example, say we have one, if you will, more traditional partner, and this the stability part, and then we also open up to one or two other locations. But if things do not quite work out, then it doesn't jeopardize the whole business. So I think this is what you need to think about. What is your strategy for this?
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. So go a little bit of safety for maybe some things that you've got to deliver and core, and then maybe for some new stuff, try out other places. Yeah, hedge your bets a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Excellent. All right, that was great. Thanks, Mike. Cheers.
Thanks, David.
Hi, Mike. So I'm just going to read a few questions for you from the chat. We're trying to bring Nigel onto the stage, but doesn't look like he's accepted the request. So his question was, what has been your biggest challenge you have faced during nearshore delivery?
Mm-hmm. I think one of the biggest challenges is to anticipate your staffing need, upcoming staffing need. I think that's a challenge for the project to stay on top of that, and you can always have some surprises, but to make sure that you know what comes next, and then for the service provider to provide the staff actually, and especially if this is at short notice, and then if these things come together, critical, really crunch time in a project, and the need for certain expertise, and then it's difficult to make people available. That is a big challenge.
Oh, mate, thanks for asking the question. I've managed to accept the invite now. Can you hear me?
I can't quite hear you, I'm afraid.
Am I audible? No, I don't seem to be having access.
Hi, Nigel. You are audible. You're just very, very quiet. If you could just speak a little bit louder. So,
Yeah, so the question is, following that question is, have you had any problems with cultural differences? For instance, you may have had an incumbent that was from Europe, and then you've probably had another delivery team which was outside of Europe. And how have you managed that difference in cultures as regards to different geographical locations?
Yeah, that's a very good one. The most interesting thing that happened to me was actually when I was a project manager for an international team, and I realized that some people, and might not have been a matter of nationality, but it could have been also just the corporate background that they were used to up until then. They wouldn't speak up, and they wouldn't care if they had concerns, or if they thought that something was not going in the right direction. And I basically kept on encouraging them, please, if you think that something doesn't quite work, then tell me, tell the team, because then we need to address this. We make a plan, and we do something about it. But what we don't want is that you know something, and we still keep on accelerating, and we hit the wall and crash. And for them, they looked at me with big eyes. That was something they haven't heard before. That basically a project manager told them, hey, speak openly, speak freely, and nobody will bite your head off. That was quite a thing to overcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
perfect. Thank you, Nigel. Really, really great couple of questions there. Just a couple more questions for you, Meik. Darin asks, so he works for a development company with offices in the UK and India. In the case of businesses at a startup stage with non-technical owners, managing a project is very crucial for success. Which end do you want the project to be managed? Darin has seen that non-technical owners sometimes are creating more issues just to keep the control. What are your thoughts on that question?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Do you need me to repeat the question?
No. I just go through the. I think I found the question in the chat.
Yeah.
I think if the owners can trust their service provider, then they should say, hey, we delegate this to you, and on a high level, they state what their expectations are, what's important to them. They also make sure that the right feedback loops are established, but then they delegate this to them and put it in their hands. What you also can do is that you add additional consultants to this, possibly only temporarily, but then they keep an eye on this. They might advise in the background. They might possibly also ask questions in both directions that these two parties fail to ask each other, and then that helps to get things on track.
Perfect. Thank you. I hope that answers your question, Darin. Next, we've got Panos, who asks, you mentioned that if things become difficult in his hints and recommendations section, what have you seen in the space of things becoming difficult, and what have you seen in things going very well in these partnerships? Would love to hear a couple of anonymized highlights from your experience, if possible.
Mm-hmm. Things becoming difficult. This is when the project team gets under pressure to, for example, deliver by a a certain time, and then as it is so often, once people are under pressure, then yeah, they might act differently, and then all sorts of things can happen, and bad things that potentially can happen are blame games, and then all of a sudden you can lose a lot of trust between team members. You have then certain camps, if you will. People feel that they need to choose sides, and this is all obviously super unhealthy to keep the project on track. So having a team to be able to handle pressure of whatever sort and not allow friction and division to happen, I think that is key. Sorry, but there was a second part to that, wasn't there?
Yeah. So, and then on the positive spin, what have you seen of things going really well in these partnerships?
Oh, yeah, exactly the opposite. You have, and this is what fascinates me about this. You have people, they didn't know each other 3 months ago, but they're forming a team now. They get to learn each other, the way they work, their expertise, what they bring to the table, not only as professionals but also as people. And then they get in a flow. They just work together, and it's just amazing to see. And when then the project manager or engagement manager can just then take a step back and say, you know what, you guys, you're handling this. Yeah, I leave you to it. If there's something and you still need me, I'm there. But you're smashing it, and that is fantastic to see. And yeah, I enjoyed these times a lot. Absolutely.
Fantastic. And Panos looks like he's happy with your answers. So thank you, Meik. Last question, I think, for today. Julian asks, are you observing a general increase in the trend of offshoring/nearshoring of work in the UK?
We haven't done any market research, but I hear more and more people talking about it. Yes. But it's more a gut feeling. I cannot support this with any data, but I feel like it's becoming quite a topic. Absolutely, yeah.
I said perfect, but I had my mic muted. So yeah, thank you, Meik. Really appreciate your presentation today. Just bringing Vinny back on, just to say a few words about WeShape's nearshore capabilities before we say goodbye. Vinny, you're on mute.
Can you hear me? Yeah, perfect. So yeah, just a little bit on WeShape, I suppose. Just an overview of WeShape. We're a tech consultancy specializing in DevOps, data software, and cloud solutions. However, we have built out quite a large nearshore capability now, both Poland, Bulgaria, and Romania. And just to quickly expand on Julian's question, we are noticing quite an uptick in requirements for nearshore on that side of things, particularly in places like Poland, where the talent pool is very big. Just recently in the hacker ranking testings, they did rank third, just under China and Russia, particularly on the software engineering and software development side of things as well. So yeah, WeShape do have quite a large nearshore capability. As I mentioned, we specialize in kind of full end-to-end delivery, from sort of the scoping, discovery, implementation, offboarding, governance side of things, and also augmentation of technical teams delivering at pace, which we're noticing very a large uptick in at the moment on the nearshore side of things. Cool.
Perfect. Well, I think that's kind of everything from us today. So from myself, Meik, and Vinny, thank you very much for watching and staying with us. I know this one went on a bit longer than the others, but that's because you were also engaged. So yeah, thanks very much, guys. And we will see you at the next one for WeShape webinar number 5. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.